What's up, guys? How you doing? Let's go. We're in quarantine, so you know what that means. We're coming out with a new experiment. That's right, Lunch Money Show. We're going to every day break down the top topics going on. I don't really care about the news, a little bit more entertainment, but the whole idea is that while Wall Street's getting rich, the rest of us are just trying to get our lunch money right. So every day around noon-ish, why-ish? Because we don't have our shit together. Sometimes it'll come out a little before noon, a little after noon, maybe right at noon, or maybe at 5 o'clock. Who knows? But I'll come to you every day. We'll talk about the top topics. Sometimes it'll be just me. Other times I'll have a co-host that calls in. But either way, we're going to cover the top topics. We're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to try to educate some folks while not being too ridiculous. So today's first show, we're going to try this out. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. If it breaks, who cares? But we're going to give it a try. So let's jump into the topics. The first is federal jets. We've got Dr. Donnie Trump on Twitter, keeps tweeting all about his TV ratings, saying, hey, I've got the best TV ratings. They're comparable with The Bachelorette finale, Monday Night Football, etc. Of course, everyone is just laying in on them, saying, what do you care about your TV ratings? But at the same time, you've got all of these jets that are flying to Shanghai. So the U.S. government's actually sending jets to pick up 80 tons of medical equipment and personal protective equipment in Shanghai and bringing it back to the U.S. The first one happened this weekend, flew into New York City. We've got other flights going into Chicago and Ohio over the next couple of days, and then they'll kind of move out to other cities from there. But it's pretty funny to see kind of the public persona and the tweeting and the TV ratings and all this stuff. At the same time, we got federal jets. Why do they call federal jets? I don't know. Just sounds like a cool name. So I got my notes here because that's what smart people do. They got notes. What we're picking up in the planes is 130,000 N95 masks, 1.8 million face masks, 10 million gloves, and thousands of thermometers. Obviously, this stuff is super needed. Already, we've seen J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, who's come out and said, hey, you sent me all these masks, but they're the wrong kind. And so you got to remember that there's just a bunch of logistical stuff that's going on right now. And this stuff's hard. I mean, we're moving 80 tons of medical equipment from Shanghai to the U.S. on short notice in chartered planes, et cetera. And so that's just the world we live in today, right? Is literally we're having to send planes to another country to pick stuff up. When we get out of this virus thing, I think you're going to see a lot of those supply chains come back on shore to the United States, go deeper, kind of protect ourselves from being in a situation where we're relying on other people in order to get a lot of this personal protective equipment. So that then leads me to, if that's the healthcare crisis, what's going on in the economic market? Well, Jim Cramer on television yesterday said, hey, if you're a short seller, you're betting against science. Well, newsflash, Jim, no, you're not. His whole argument is that there's going to be some sort of vaccine or some sort of cure for coronavirus that's eventually figured out. That's probably true. I don't doubt that. But at the same time, look, I'm sitting here in my kitchen. I got a plant over my shoulder. I got an Instant Pot that Polina loves. I got a refrigerator. I'm not at work. I'm in my kitchen. If I'm in my kitchen and everyone else is in their kitchen and in their living room and in their bedroom, that means we're all sitting our asses at home. The economy is not going to recover while everyone's sitting at home. We're only going to get a recovery in the economy when people go back to work, when American businesses turn back on, when the grease to the flywheel starts going. That's how we get the economy to recover. It's not about the science. It's not about a cure. It's not about a vaccine. That stuff will help, but the only solution to the economy is to get people back to work. And so, Jim, love you, man, but short sellers aren't betting against science. They're just checking reality. They're telling everyone and telling the market, hey, a lot of these companies, even though their stock prices have fallen 30, 40, 50, 60, 70%, they're still overvalued. Go look at all of the hospitality companies, the travel companies, et cetera. Revenue literally went whoop, right off a cliff. It's gone. And maybe it'll come back, maybe it won't, but we don't know that stuff yet. And so we need those short sellers in order to kind of do true price discovery in the marketplace and understand what exactly is the value that exists there today. I don't think it's them betting against science. I think it's actually them betting on reality and betting on the fact that the economy is not going to recover as long as you, me, and everyone else is sitting at home looking at our computers and zooming with our family rather than being able to go out, spend money, and create economic activity. So that then leads us to, when the hell are we going to get out of quarantine? We're all sitting here super bored. Everyone's just watching stupid videos on Instagram or on Twitter, right? Sending memes to each other, downloading the latest app, trying to watch Netflix. Shout out Tiger King. The dude's a legend. But when are we going to get out of this thing? And there's two pieces to this that are going to be really important, right? One is social distancing working? Are we able to flatten the curve? Can we get people back into society without the spread of the virus? That seems to be going well, but it just takes time, right? There's people who are saying that it could end as early as the end of April, but then the state of Virginia yesterday said, hey, if you're staying at home, you're going to have to be there till June 10th. June 10th is really, really far away. That's like 70 plus days away. And so there's a lot of people who are saying, whoa, I didn't expect 70 days in quarantine, but that's what we're facing right now. The second body of work is, can we get a cure or can we get some sort of vaccine? On the cure side, you see the hydroxychloroquine. Sound like a scientist when I say that. That seems to be progressing nicely, and it looks like that could be a solution. But again, it'll take a little bit of time until we know for sure. The big thing is Johnson & Johnson starting this September, kind of in Q3, to actually inject humans with a vaccine or a potential vaccine. Now, I have no clue. I'm actually not a scientist on whether it'll work or not. But what I do know is once they start injecting people, it will take kind of 10 to 12 months in general until we know whether it works or not. Why do they have to wait so long? Well, we got to make sure that whatever we're injecting in people doesn't kill them, obviously. Now, what I want to know is who's the first person who says, you know what? Hit me up with the shot. How is this going to work, right? Do they go out on Craigslist and put out an ad and say, hey, anyone looking for $500? Do they have kind of a whole group of people that are already volunteers and they just select somebody? Do they do one person? Do they do 100 people? I don't know. All I know is that they're going to start injecting people with something they think could be a vaccine, but you know going into it, if you're getting injected, you're the guinea pig. You're the test dummy, right? You don't know, are you going to die or are you going to survive? And I'm sure that they make you sign a bunch of forms and say you understand the risk you're taking. But still, I want to know who those people are and also what are they being compensated for, right? How do they actually get paid, or what are they getting in exchange for being the person who takes the injection? No clue, but just seems like kind of a weird situation that's going on there. So that'll start in Q3 this year, but it's still going to take kind of 12 to 14 months in order to get that vaccine efficacy figured out. So while all of this is happening, we've got federal jets flying around picking up PPE so that nurses aren't wearing trash bags in hospitals. We've got short sellers and equity buyers going long and short and creating all this volatility in the markets. And then we've got healthcare companies trying to figure out cures and vaccines. Senate says, you know what? We just passed the stimulus bill, $2 trillion. That was a big body of work. We've worked really, really hard this year. We're going to take a vacation. That's right. Normally, the Senate recess was scheduled from April 6th to the 17th, where they go home. They just go on vacation, right? It's a recess. It's kind of like in school. You get a break from classwork. Now you go to recess. Well, that's what the Senate's supposed to do from April 6th to the 17th. But instead, they decided, we worked really hard this year. Let's actually extend the amount of time that we have. So they went on recess this week. It'll extend to April 20th. So literally, people who are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and supposed to be representing us, they're going on vacation. I don't know, go back to Washington, do some voting, do some negotiating, do some politicking, do whatever you guys do on a daily basis, but don't go on vacation. In the time where we need the most leadership, we have people leaving. In a time where you think that people are actually looking for their leaders, their elected representatives, to say, hey, everything's going to be okay. It's going to do what we need it to do, meaning the government, the healthcare system, the economy, etc. But all of a sudden they're going home. I just don't think that that's right. Of course, they're going to make the argument, oh, well, there's some people who got sick and we all need to leave so that we don't, violate the quarantine. We're going to subject ourselves to the same thing that everyone else is. Yeah, maybe there's an argument there, but I think that what's more important is you're an elected representative. You're supposed to be voting, politicking, negotiating, doing deals, wheel and deal, baby. Whatever you got to do, get the work done. Don't just go home, because it's unlikely that the $2 trillion stimulus package is going to be enough. We're probably going to need more help. And if you're on vacation, it's really hard for you to, one, stay plugged into what's going on, two, in case there's an emergency, and three, this is an entire confidence game. People are looking and saying, is it going to be okay? And what does that tell us if all of a sudden our elected representatives go on vacation? I don't know, not really the smartest thing in my opinion. So that leads to the last thing, the Federal Reserve. All this money is being created. They're already buying all kinds of credit products. They're doing everything from treasuries to mortgage-backed securities, corporate debt, etc. Now there's talk that they actually may be able to buy equities. That's right. Imagine if the Federal Reserve could now start to buy equities in the market. We're seeing a little bit of this now with some of the bailouts around the airlines. People are being told, hey, if you take the bailout money, we're going to have an equity stake in your business. That's kind of a special situation, if you will. But what we're talking about in the equity side is the Federal Reserve literally having a pool of capital where they're buying equities. It's unclear if they would be doing like index type stuff with the S&P or if they'd be actually picking individual stocks. All I keep saying to myself is imagine Jerome Powell sitting at the Federal Reserve, taking off his Federal Reserve hat, putting on his Jerry stock picker hat and saying, you know what? I think Dunkin' Donuts is going up today, and I think that Spirit Airlines is going down. I don't think that's what they're going to do, but you can just imagine the slippery slope we'd get into if all of a sudden you get people who are government elected officials or working at the Treasury, the Federal Reserve, et cetera, and they start trying to pick stocks or do anything there. Really, really bad, slippery slope. And so my hope is that the Federal Reserve is actually going to steer clear of buying equities, stick with the products that they currently buy. I hope that we can turn this around, get the American economy turned back on. It just seems like it's only going to get worse before it gets better. And so keep an eye out for not only more stimulus, but also what are they going to be able to buy? Are they going to get an expansion of those assets that they can purchase? They would need congressional approval to do it, but weirder things have happened. We've literally seen in 08 and 09, hundreds of billions of dollars in stimulus. Now we're talking trillions. Previously, we saw all sorts of credit products bought. Why wouldn't we do equities today? I think that's part of the conversation. So remember, every single day around noon, we'll be coming to you with lunch money while Wall Street's trying to get rich, the rest of us trying to get our lunch money right. I can't promise you that we're going to do this forever, but I can promise you that it's going to be fun and entertaining while we do it. Now, here's the whole key. Hold me accountable at noon every day, noon-ish. Why ish? Because we don't have our shit together. But before noon, afternoon, right at noon, or at 5 o'clock every day, we're going to come to you. We're going to bring you the news. Send us tweets, subscribe, do all the stuff that I'm supposed to say that I forgot already that's not in my notes. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.